everybody! Welcome to Paragade After Hours, a podcast where we talk about nerdy shit, video game shit, typically a lot of anime.
Plenty of that.
Plenty of that. It's been a fucking while, huh?
It's been a hot minute.
I mean, you know, it's been such a hot minute that,
hey!
that we got married.
Yeah. Yeah, so as it turns out, marriage is hard.
It's hard planning a marriage, ain't it?
Yeah, it's hard planning a wedding specifically.
Yeah.
And doing all that. So we kind of put the entirety of our lives on hold to do that thing, and so it's finally done now.
It's over. Like, we never have to worry about that again, God willing.
Yeah. Yeah. As great as it is, and as lovely as it would be to do it over, like, the hope is that you don't.
The hope is. It's like, it was such a great... Okay, so, let's first talk about what we're drinking here, before we get into what we drank.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we have been getting into some Old Smoky moonshine. We've just been trying little samples of it, but we might possibly procure ourselves a larger bottle of this stuff. It's the Old Smoky's apple pie moonshine, which tastes fantastic. It's basically like...
It's very dangerous.
It's apple and cinnamon, and so we're having it with some sparkling water to kind of make it just a little bit more refreshing and not quite as dangerous.
You know, it's like they make it taste so goddamn good.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with moonshine. Is that it
tastes really good. It just, you don't feel any bite, and God help you, it's gonna go ahead and fuck you up.
Yeah, it's like a, you know, so it's basically like a whiskey. I'm pretty sure the old Smokies is also corn mash, but then it's also just sugared up.
Yeah,
that's the other issue. It's like if you combined rum and whiskey.
Oh, it's ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So good stuff. So we're putting it pairing it with some sparkling water.
Yeah.
Because we're that kind of bougie bitches.
We are that kind of bougie bitches.
So, and we were such bougie bitches that we went all out for our wedding.
Yep. So we had it. You know, I want to give them advertising after this.
Yeah. Well, so basically, we found a really nice speakeasy that made some really fantastic whiskey drinks.
Yep. And
you know, it was fun. We definitely had a great time. The planning aspect of it was
a nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare is good enough to say. I think I'm just gonna make it a long story short, but essentially 2 weeks before the wedding, they were like, hey, by the way, you owe us $6,000 extra. And I'm like, what? They were like, oh, yeah, you were underquoted for the venue fees, so that's going to be an extra $6,000. And I'm like, hi, I did not agree to that.
I think the thing that finally cemented, like, I'm just not going to recommend this anymore, was, like, you know, their whole response after that was like, oh, we don't want to stress you out 2 weeks before your wedding.
Yeah, like, after I threatened to cancel on them,
yeah,
then they changed their tone, and then, yeah, they were like, well, you know, we don't want you to have to stress about finding a whole new venue 2 weeks before your wedding, and I'm like, then why did you try to charge me $6,000 extra that I don't have?
You know, It's like, if they hadn't said that, then I would have been like, alright, I get it. It's the business. You want to go ahead and use capitalism.
Yeah.
I get it. Alright.
Yeah. No, it was all well and good, though.
Yeah.
We still had a fantastic time. The people who actually worked there were really nice. It was just dealing with the coordinator of that place. I wanted to wring her at the neck. But, hey, we had a great wedding.
Yep.
Many peoples drank many drinks of whiskey, too much. As I've been told. Yeah, I'm trying to like put this like not crazily, but basically like everyone drank a lot. I got to have some really fancy whiskeys with my family, and everyone else just like got smashed on mimosas, which I think is very apropos for a gay wedding. Let's be real.
You know, pretty apropos.
Yeah.
Like, we also had Sky go ahead and officiate. That was a fucking dream.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So some of the people that
that have guest starred on this
podcast were also involved with the wedding. It was great, grand old time.
Oh my goodness. So, but because everybody who knows this is just gonna know about the wedding and blah blah blah. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk mainly on this podcast about what we did immediately after the wedding.
Ah, yes.
Because, as you do with weddings, usually, like, right afterwards, you go off and go on a little vacation that they call a honeymoon. And we decided...
I'm loving this clinical definition you're going through right now.
And we decided...
When two men love each other very much.
When two men love each other very much, they adopt millions of puppies. We planned and succeeded in going to Japan for our honeymoon.
So, first off, we've never really been out of the country that much. I mean, I've been to, the Bahamas.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Same here.
Yeah.
We as kids have traveled...
On a cruise ship.
On cruise ships. Yeah, that's basically the summary. So we've never really left the country or, just left North America in general.
Yeah.
And, it's an intimidating thing. But we decided that we were just gonna say, fuck it, and we flew our butts out to Japan.
What I think was, the most serendipitous thing was, once we got into LAX to get on the actual plane, it just turned out to be a BB-8 plane.
Yeah, so we flew on ANA, which is, Nippon Airways, and the flight, or the airplane that was taking us to Japan came in and, showed up at our gate, and it was skinned to look like a BB-8. And it was
adorable.
That was amazing. Because we had a Star Wars themed wedding, so
it was just here you go. This is the blessing. This is the little bit of a cherry on top, saying you made the right call here.
We were blessed by BB-8.
We were blessed by our Lord and Savior BB-8. And as we got on, I just also love that they did the Japanese dub for C-3PO. Which sounded exactly what I imagined a Japanese C-3PO would sound like.
Yeah, it was just all sorts of adorable. So, to give a rundown of generally what we did is we opted to bring only 2 backpacks with us. Mm-hmm. We landed in Tokyo.
Yep.
We stayed in some hostels. We traveled from Tokyo to Nagoya, Kyoto, Osaka, Kobe, and then back to Tokyo. And we knew that somewhere along the way we were going to buy at least 1 suitcase and fill it to the brim with shit.
Yeah.
With literal anime garbage.
Anime otaku garbage.
Because if y'all don't know already... We're effing weebs.
We're giant weebs, aren't we?
And Japan has all the best shit. And we knew that we were going to be spending a lot of money over there.
Oh, and
we did.
We did. So, I guess let's go ahead and kind of start off chronologically here. Vaguely. So, I'm going to start with you. What were the 3 highlights that you could think of?
Chronologically? Or, where are we starting?
You know what? Actually, yeah, we should probably go through the
entirety.
I'm let's jump to the end chronologically. Let's work our way back. No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, our first part of the trip in Tokyo, we were mainly in Shibuya and Shinjuku.
Yeah.
And... honestly, my favorite part of that, and also we went out to, Kichijoji and whatnot, was particularly the coffee that's in Shinjuku, Shibuya, and Kichijoji. We had some freaking amazing coffee.
Yeah.
And primarily I just loved, we wandered around Kichijoji, and it was just brilliant there.
The thing that honestly struck me while going there was just how quiet everything was.
Oh yeah.
Despite it being basically one of the world's most major cities, it was you just walk these streets and it's compared to, like, what we constantly hear, even here in Orlando, it was just quiet.
Yeah, I would say, like, it's gonna be a little bit louder when you're in, like, say, Harajuku or Shibuya. You know, when you're in, like, the major part of, like, Shibuya Crossing, or you're in Harajuku's, like, freaking busiest street. Yeah, like, it's a little bit louder. But once you're just, like... And honestly, a lot of the loudness is coming from, like, the billboards, basically. But once you're on, like, the normal streets, the alleyways, kind of... They're not really alleyways, they're just, like, narrow streets.
Yeah.
You could hear a pin drop. Like, it's not... There's no honking cars. There's no, like... loud street vendors.
Everything was just so, like, contained in a way that I'm just not used to.
Yeah, I think, well, and especially coming from a place of New York, where it never sleeps, and also it never shuts up.
It never shuts up.
And me coming from DC, where everywhere you go is traffic.
Oh, yeah.
And so everywhere you go is honking and sirens blaring and stuff like that. Like, it's always loud where we've lived.
Yeah, and...
to the point that when I remember you always would talk about moving out to the rural area that we lived in for a time, you were uncomfortable by how quiet it was.
That is true, yeah.
Like, you know, and I kind of feel that in a way, too. We're used to America, where everything is loud. Like, cars are loud, you know, traffic's loud.
People are
loud. But we would walk down, you know, the streets in Tokyo, one of the largest, craziest, like, condensed cities in the world, and, like, you could have a normal, quiet conversation and hear each other just fine. You could sit down in, you know, on the subway, and you would whisper to each other, and you could hear each other just fine, crystal clear. Like, even the parks are quieter. I don't know what it is, but even, like, just people day to day just
kind of chill out.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, obviously sometimes kids run by and they're, you know, yelling.
It's like they're children.
Yeah, their children might be, like, kind of loud, but honestly, they're just not as loud as American children are. It's not to say that they're all whispering. It's just that they don't scream as loudly. It's just, I don't know. It was really pleasant on the ears. I can really tell you all that.
And then speaking of just pleasant, during our time in Tokyo and just like navigating the streets and just kind of seeing this harsh difference between like
America and Japan,
especially their sort of like ideologies with like just infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, the overall thing about Japan is, like, you know, the streets are very tiny, but there's a reason for that. It's because they're meant for people, not meant for cars.
Yeah. Well, like,
cars can still travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, all of the streets in Japan are much, much, like, smaller than streets in America. And most of the times, there's not crosswalks.
Yeah.
Crosswalks really only exist on major roads, essentially. Other than that, when you walk down, like, a normal, say, like, a suburb street...
Yeah.
It's just that paved road.
Yeah.
And so you, as a pedestrian, will just walk down it. You might stick to the side, or you just decide to go to the middle, and you'll only really move, you know, off to the side when necessary, when there's a car coming.
Yeah.
But because of that, cars don't have the right of way.
Yeah.
Like, they just straight up don't. The pedestrians have the right of way to be on that road, and so, like, the cars are just a lot more careful.
they're a lot more careful, and especially coming from like Florida, where it's like, you know, every road is basically the Fury Road.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, obviously the cars have the domain here, and Lord help you if you ever try to get in front of them.
Yeah, like, you would never, ever walk on the road like this in Orlando. You just wouldn't. It'd be so unsafe. You'd get run over 15 times before anybody would call the ambulance.
Basically.
You know, but in Japan, the cars don't have that kind of power. You wait for pedestrians. And for the most part, like, you don't hear any honking. Like, people don't really use their horn on their car the way that, you know, people in Orlando are basically just gonna tap on the horn just to let you know, hey, the lights turned green.
Yeah.
Which I am guilty of that because that's how Orlando traffic be. But in Japan, it's a completely different beast, and it was really quite something just to, as Floridians, to walk around on the street, like, not having to constantly be on the lookout for the next car that's going to try to run you over, the next crazy person.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then, you know, public transit really does work. You know, the trains, we had the JR rail passes, and so we just kind of took the train wherever. We could take the Shinkansen at will.
Yep.
And the Shinkansen is the bullet trains.
Yeah.
So the high-speed bullet trains that run from city to city. Those were so nice. They
are just like the polar opposite of what Amtrak is over here.
Yeah, Amtrak is always late, always slow, always terrible. When you get a ticket for the bullet train in Japan, it says that that train is leaving at 6:44 p.m. It leaving at 6:44 p.m. No second earlier, no second later. Like, they had stopwatches. Like, the conductors are sitting there with stopwatches counting down the seconds till, like, that bullet train leaves. So, like, you arrive, you know, early at the track. As soon as you hear the train is arriving, you gather your bags and stand there waiting for the train.
Yep.
As soon as that train stops, people come off, you get on, it leaves.
Yep.
It's like 4 minutes maximum that it is, like, on the track. Like,
it was so nice.
Yeah, because you get on, and by the time you find your seat, the train's moving, you sit down, you relax, you know, you just hang out, you drink a beer.
Oh, and then that's right.
Yeah, and then you get off.
Oh, God.
It was truly an amazing experience. Like, it's just, public transit there is so efficient.
So night and day compared.
It's designed to just work, yeah. Like, without any issues whatsoever.
Now, the other thing I do want to talk about in terms of it just being, it works way better than I was expecting it to. Convenience stores.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, how in America, it's like, you kind of look at the hot dog rack, and you're just kind of sitting there thinking, like, well, that there's a good old game of Russian roulette. I'm either going to go ahead and walk out of here with a perfectly nice pair of pants, or I'm going to walk out of here with very stained underwear.
Yeah. Brown.
Brown. Very brown.
Yeah.
You might have I'm hoping you wore brown pants.
Yeah. And we're talking like 7-Eleven. Like, everyone knows 7-Eleven food is where you go to when you hate yourself and you want to vomit for the next few hours.
Where you need a cleanse.
Yeah, you need a true cleanse. Or like the icy machines where you're like, how many times has this been cleaned in the past 15 years? I'm gonna guess once.
And, like, just going to, like, a Family Mart, going to, like, the Lawson's, or
7-Eleven.
Or 7-Eleven. It's just, like, all are so fucking good, and it's just, like...
Yeah, so there's convenience stores basically on every block in especially Tokyo, and they are so pristine inside. They are, like... They're amazing. They're cheap, and the food is delicious and delivered every day. Like, prepackaged foods are delicious. They have dumplings for you to buy for like pennies, basically, that are warm pockets of delicious, soft and chewy goodness.
Can we talk about the curry bun? Can we please talk about the curry bun? I've been dying to talk about the curry bun.
We're going to talk about the curry bun. So, we love Japanese curry. Japanese curry is amazing. It is completely different from Indian curry or Thai curry. It's just a world of its own. And the Japanese have taken steamed buns, those nice pillowy goodness, and stuffed it with pork and curry sauce. And in certain ones, like the Family Marts,
yeah,
cheese.
Oh yeah,
cheese. So you pay literally what is equivalent to $1. You get one of these buns, which is it's not a tiny little like truffle. It's actually like a sandwich, basically, for $1. And it's nice and warm, and you just go, all you have to do is go up to the counter, put down 130 yen and be like, curry bun. And they get you the curry bun, and they wrap it up for you, and you take it outside, and you just hold it in your hands, and it's so warm, and you could lay your head on it, and then you take a bite of it, and it's so good. It's just perfectly seasoned. It's so soft. Like, anyone who has had bao or other steamed buns, like, how beautifully soft that bun is.
Oh, yeah.
That like, beautiful pillow of
just
savoriness. It was I can't accurately describe this enough. If you, dear viewer, ever go to Japan, do not skip out on convenience stores. Do not skip out on going to that 7-Eleven and just ordering a bun that you just see sitting there, like right in front of the counter. Like, don't think of it as the hot dog here in the States.
No.
It's so much better than that.
Like, the hot dog is there to hurt you. This curry bun is here to caress you.
Yeah,
it is here to welcome you in its embrace.
It is here welcoming you to Japan. Welcoming you to a country where you are not afraid of the convenience store.
You're not afraid of the convenience store, where just they also serve highballs in a can.
Yeah.
Like civilized people.
Yeah. Like, for those who don't know, highball is a whiskey drink where in Japan, it's Japanese whiskey with sparkling water and sometimes a little bit of lemon. And it's just a nice, refreshing alcoholic drink that you can buy for like $2.
Yep.
Like, I mean, maybe $2.50, I think, equivalent.
$2.50, yeah.
About right now, USD is $2.50. It's so cheap. It's so refreshing. You can get that and like a curry bun and like a dessert. You can feed yourself for $5, including an alcoholic drink at a convenience store. Do not miss out on this delicious goodness.
Don't skip this.
Don't
skip it.
Yeah. And like, we ate a lot of convenience store food.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot good to eat. It was almost all of it was either fantastic or just straight up delicious. I think there was like 2 things that we bought at a convenience store that were like okay.
Yeah.
But like, we bought so much convenience store food, or like if we were tired and just on our way back to hostel, we would just grab ourselves like 2 beers and like a snack from the convenience store, and you could just have a midnight snack for like maybe $5 for 2 people.
Just $5 for 2 people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my highlight for the first half of our trip. Mm-hmm. Or at least the top 3 highlights.
Yeah.
The one that just constantly sticks out to me is Streamer's Coffee. Mm-hmm. Because holy shit. So, it was in Shibuya, or was it Shinjuku?
It was between Shibuya and Harajuku.
Okay.
It's just this fantastic little coffee shop that we stopped at on the way to Harajuku.
And the wonderful thing about it, and it speaks so much to my fucking aesthetic there, was like, it was just a skater-themed, like, you know...
Coffee shop.
Had, like, skateboards all over the wall. It had, like, a bunch of stickers. And I'm just like, oh, God, I didn't know I needed this.
Yeah.
And they had a red velvet latte, which was life-changing. It changed the game for me. I was just like, I've always liked my sweet hot beverages with milk. And now you've given me this, and I can't go back.
Yeah.
I can't go back. Like, that was my favorite, like, coffee drink that I had the entire time I was there. Because it was just so good. It just, like, the things that they did with the red velvet, it just felt like, it had, like, a little bit of a tanginess to it. I was expecting the tanginess, but it was there. And I was like, how? Why? Why would you do this? And why is it so good?
Yeah.
And as I consumed that, like, I knew right then and there, like, I'm gonna need to find something else in America. I'm gonna need to find something else that can just try to stack up to this. Then the second highlight was the ramen place she took us to on the second night, which was this little hole in the wall, like right next to our hostel. And they had, like, just, you know, they just had, like, a unassuming tonkatsu. They're like, here you go, the special tonkatsu. And I'm like, okay, that you know, that sounds good. I want a nice fatty tonkatsu to go ahead and just wrap me up tonight. They served this bad boy. And you got, like, these little bits of pork cutlets. You just have a giant fried pork cutlet. It's just gigantic. And it's just steaming. And I'm just like, okay. And as you bite into it, I think this was the moment I kind of looked you dead in the eye. I just went like, Domo's ruined forever. It's just ruined forever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was it. It was done. That was the best ramen I've ever had. And then my final highlight was, of course, the Sunrise Studio.
Oh, yeah. So we took a trip out to see the Sunrise Studio itself. You can't go in or see tours, but basically you could go to this little sleepy little town and see where the Gundam was made.
Where the sausage gets made. It was so surreal, and like I said, it was just like so sleepy. It was just like, you know, it's so peaceful and quiet there, and they have like the Gundam statue right in front of the train station, and it's made out of bronze, and it's just reaching out, and it's so weird just knowing that, like, in this little town, that's where Sunrise lives. That's where, you know, things like Cowboy Bebop was made. That's where Gundam was made. That's where all of these wonderful things that came from, like, our Adult Swim-infused childhood came from this little spot in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. So what are your top 3 highlights from our first leg of the trip?
Well, so one, I did like streamers. I'm offended that you like that more than any of the coffee I've ever made for you.
Well, Mael, your coffee is good. Your coffee's real good. Streamers was on a whole nother level.
Anyway, I'm getting a divorce.
Listen, it's like Kobe beef versus New York strip steak. I still love New York strip steak, but Kobe beef.
My coffee is delicious.
It's really good. It's really good,
Anyway, I'm offended. So, I liked streamers a lot, though, too. I had a delicious macchiato and a donut, which they're known for is, like, having really good fresh donuts. And it was just a nice, good cake donut wrapped in chocolate. And it was, there's nothing I love more than a true European-style macchiato. So just like a little, 2 shots of espresso and a dollop of milk on top. And it's just the perfect, right amount of strength versus milk. And you just dunk your donut into it. It's real good. I also enjoyed going to the... I'm trying to think, like... Oh, yeah, the Owl Cafe.
Ah, yeah.
In Harajuku. We had a fantastic time. We got to pet some owls. They were real cute.
I like the big boy.
Yeah, we just really like owls, and so does Japan. And so we got to go pet some owls and drink some coffee. And then on that note as well, my other favorite thing was when we went to Kichijoji and we had light up coffee. It was some of the best, definitely some of the best coffee of the trip. Light up coffee in Kichijoji is phenomenal. They have like 3 different. They'll have like a little sampler thing where you can try 3 different pour overs from different single origin beans. And each and every single one of them will always come with a little card that tells you all of the notes about this coffee, where it comes from, the flavor profile. I mean, and the people there were really nice.
Oh, yeah.
I had one of the best Kenyan single origins I've ever had in my life. I had to buy some and bring it home to show to all my friends. And just Kichijoji in general. We went to the Ghibli Museum and the area around that and the park, and it was so beautiful. Had a great time.
It was so good. So that leads us to the last leg of the first half of our trip, which was Nagoya.
Yeah.
Which was the Philadelphia of our trip.
It was uneventful. It was a Sunday night. Nothing was open.
It was like, we get in there at like 1 o'clock, and we're like, we're just going to go hang out at like a cafe until
we did drink some really good coffee there, though.
Well, that was just it. Like, that's the other thing about Japan, right? Was like, we didn't have a single cup of burnt coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all the coffee there was just good. Even like their analog to Dunkin' Donuts was good.
And like, even Starbucks is better there.
I don't know how they manage it.
Starbucks is better there, guys.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so Nagoya was kind of a hit and miss. However, after that, we did go to Kyoto.
We did.
Which was beautiful.
So before we jump into that, because we're at the 30-minute mark, why don't we go ahead and just take a quick break, wet our whistles a little bit more, and then we'll come back, wrap this up, and
we'll talk about Kyoto.
Alright, BRB. So, Kyoto. Oh my god.
I have to say, just hands down, the most beautiful place that we went to was Kyoto.
So, the first night we were there, we went to Craft Kyoto.
Yeah.
Which, oh my god.
Yeah, so right by where our ryokan that we were staying at, our traditional Japanese inn, was this place called Craft Kyoto, where these cool, young, hip Japanese people serve
these Japanese hipsters,
like literal Japanese hipsters, like our kind of people, served up craft beer from around the country, craft whiskey, and craft sake.
And when we were there, like, we noticed, like, they actually had one of them on tap from Maryland.
Yeah, I was like, I was reading the Japanese, like, I can read a little bit, and I was like, Maryland, oh. And then, like, he showed us the English menu, and I'm like, yep, that's from Maryland.
Oh my god. But, no, my favorite thing was, like, they were very English friendly, they were super nice, super awesome.
Oh, awesome.
And,
super awesome.
But when they were going for, like, the sake and stuff, like, they were, because we were doing small, medium, and large, and then, like, the sake was the one that was different. They were giving me the actual measurements, but it didn't register for me at first. So, when they were going off of, like, 122, 144, and, like, 186 or something like that, I was just like, the big number.
Give it to me.
Give me the big number. That's the one with the more alcoholic content, right? And they're like, yeah, more alcoholic content in that it's more alcohol. And I'm just like,
Yeah, but I think what we have to say is that we've tried, while we were there, a lot of different kinds of sake.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have a developed palate for sake like we have for wine or beer or whiskey.
Speak for yourself. I cannot tell anyone apart, really.
I kind of grew up with a wine grandpa. But, yeah, so, like, I I can taste the difference in, like, you know, this type of wine versus that type of wine. Yeah. Whiskey, this kind of whiskey, that kind of whiskey, rye, craft, Japanese, Scotch, like, and then, you know, beers, different kinds of beers, and, like, the quality and the, like, process and whatnot. You can kind of taste those things. We don't have a palate for sake, but I can tell you that all the sake that we had was amazing.
It all tasted good.
It all tasted fantastic. I wish that I had a developed palate for it, but yeah, no, we had some really fantastic sake there, really fantastic beers, really fantastic whiskey, and we just traveled around Kyoto, and I mean, there's some beautiful, beautiful rivers that run through Kyoto.
Oh,
there's
my God.
So many beautiful neighborhoods. We went to one little neighborhood and saw the original building that housed Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we saw where, you know, kind of like with Sunrise, we saw where the sausage gets made at Nintendo, you know, original. Yeah. It has a plaque that says Nintendo Trading Card Company.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was, that was another, like, sweet and awesome moment of just, like, like, again, like, you know, here, like,
the humble beginnings of this company.
It's like, because we live in Orlando, and, like, you know, a lot of the stuff that is, I guess, more historic around here or whatever has either been gentrified or just, you know, is only as recent as, like, the 1970s.
Yeah.
So to honestly be around a place that has, like, a history that spans farther than, like, a lot of what we have here.
Yeah.
It was so cool to just kind of, like, see that and to just see, like, you know, oh, like, they build upon this. They don't get rid of it. They build upon it.
Yeah.
And Kyoto was just so beautiful, and
there were a lot of shrines pretty much everywhere you turned in Kyoto. There was a lot of shrines, you know, and like I said, it was gorgeous there. And then also we went shopping in Kyoto,
which don't sleep on that.
Yeah, don't sleep on that. Just because everyone tells you that